Just setting up my crystals. Hey, good morning, Todd. How are you feeling, my friend? How's everybody feeling? Thank you, Ryan. Look at this really spectacular piece of citrine. It almost looks like you could eat it, like it's smooth, and it reminds me of witch's butter in color. It almost wants to be like a little jelly squishy thing. I want it to be squishy. It's so, I don't know if you can, that quality, I don't know if that quality translates through the camera where it almost looks like it would be squishy or gooey or, yeah. So I, personally have never been really huge into stones. I mean, I recognize their value, right? And I've had ones here and there before, but it was only these last 2 years or so that I started actually really building relationships with them, cultivating relationships with them, and taking them with me, putting them in my pocket. I have been known lately to put stones in my socks. It's been my new big thing, especially because oftentimes either my leggings have no pockets or the pockets I have are not big enough for a big piece of selenite like that, right? So yeah, if you see me out in public, I probably have stones in my shoes, intentionally, crystals in my shoes. And if you're wondering where you should put your crystals when you don't have pockets, in your socks. Do I have any amethyst or rose quartz? Yes, I'm wearing amethyst or rose quartz up here, and I have an amethyst pair of teardrop jewelry that I usually wear too. But today, I chose this one, and I keep forgetting the name of it. It's a really cool crystalline structure. I forget what it's called. I'll find the name of it and tell you guys what this one's called, because these were made for me. It's like a crystal that's made through a chemical reaction, and it's all the rage that people are making these, and they come out like these little stacked pyramids. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? And you can, so these were made, you can dip things in it and it'll make it on the thing. Thank you. Bismuth. Absolutely. Somebody gave me a piece of bismuth last year, and I loved it so much that I was talking to a friend. I really want a pair of earrings with bismuth. And so he had somebody make me some. Apparently he knew somebody who cooks. That's a totally different level of cooking crystals. Whew. Where are you guys at today? So for those of you who are new here, hello, my name is Reverend Deborah, and I am a non-denominational reverend and a movement facilitator, movement in breath, body, and being. Mr. Marsh. Oh, welcome. Thank you. I'm glad you're here. I'm sorry that you're bitter towards someone who led you on. It's really hard. It's really hard to put our faith and trust in other people, and then to find out that what we thought was true was not true. And it can feel deceptive, and we can feel the impetus to feel justified in being angry and bitter at that person is pretty natural for us. But oftentimes the reality is that we still allowed ourselves to And this is a hard one to go through because I have been through legitimate like trauma, gaslighting, major manipulation sort of campaigns, and to be balanced, I needed to look at not only the what somebody else did, but also the energies that I let into my life. And hindsight is always 2020, right? So you can look back and you can see the things where you go, I see where I denied my intuition. I see where I denied my gut feeling. I see where I denied plain evidence and put it aside for their story. And so there is always a way, to some degree, in which we often know that these things are occurring, and it's not, we don't look back to blame ourselves or to take full responsibility for it, but it's imperative that we look back so we can recognize the places where we allowed it in, and we can strengthen those boundaries in the future. Not as a look, I was weak, but look, I didn't know. Right? I didn't know. And it's okay to come from a place of being trusting. It's okay to extend your trust. And when that extension gets hurt or broken, we reel it back in and become wiser for it. Again, it's not about blame. It's not about shame and guilt. Those things will not get you out of a place of feeling bitter and angry about them. Because either you'll be bitter and angry about the other person, or you'll be bitter and angry at yourself. And neither of those are going to bring you towards a place of balance and healing. Right? Good morning, everyone. Heather, I'm so sorry. Yeah, absolutely, Mr. Marshmallow. I'm so sorry you guys are going through some stuff like that. This is really like, before we get into our meditation and our mudra here, I will remind everyone, the energies that we're moving through right now, like just astrologically, the way that planets are moving, the energies that are happening on this planet, the solar energies and whatnot, all of these shifts that are occurring are causing major upheaval in everyone's life. And if it's either positive upheaval or it's negative upheaval. Pluto has moved into Aquarius. When Pluto shifts signs, it is a time of breaking generational cycles, breaking long-term multi-generational habits. So a lot of us, that manifests in our personal relationships, that manifests in the choices we make for our career, in the amount of authenticity that we're able to show up with, the amount of shame and guilt that we harbor, right? A lot of that stuff are the things that are passed down to us, whether it's by our family or by society itself or by our culture. So this is a time where a lot of us are going to be, these are coming to the surface. And the reason they're coming to the surface, the deception, the fear, the shame, the confusion, all these other things, why are these things coming to the surface? So that they can be seen and healed. So that they can be, thank you, Nikki, so they can be put down. We remember this when we think about meditation. When we're sitting in meditation and we release the conscious holding that is the prefrontal cortex, naturally that relieves a kind of surface tension. And when that surface tension is relieved, things bubble up naturally. It might be a pain in your hip, in your low back. It might be a memory from yesterday. It might be a worry about tomorrow. These things are not coming up to pester you or distract you from your meditation. They are coming up to be released. I really invite you to shift your perspective about when life brings us struggle and strife, when shame, guilt, and deception and confusion and anger come up. These are energies that are begging to be released, processed, transmuted, and moved through. Every time those things come up and we shove them back down or push them away, we prolong our connection and our suffering, our connection to these things and our suffering. Thank you guys for the follow. Good morning, Joy. Hey, babe. It doesn't happen overnight. It's not something that we can just overhaul our lives and ourselves overnight. Please don't try. And please stop expecting yourself to just be healed. Grace, gentleness, love, divine love, the kind of divine love that comes without judgment, that comes without fear, that kind of love that wraps around you and says to you, no matter who you are, You are exactly as you need to be. You are so perfect and beautiful. In fact, it was my amazing friend Eric S. who said, he may have been quoting somebody else, but I'm now attributing it to him. You are right where you need to be. You have learned what you've gotten. You've gotten this far because you were broken. Because you left to come home to yourself. You have to leave home in the first place. So we want to be bitter, we want to be resentful, we want to be angry, we want to blame other people, and we want to use our past and our brokenness and our hurts and our experiences as excuses as to why we can't come home to ourselves. And the reality is, it is imperative to come home to ourselves. It's time to come home. So, this class is our Bhakti Bites class. Bhakti means devotion. So devotion to what? Devotion to self-care. Because when we recognize the value that we intrinsically have, when we come home to ourselves, we are able to recognize the value that we intrinsically have. We are able to learn to love ourselves in such a profound way that it changes our experience of love internally and externally for the rest of our lives. And self-care is an important part of that path. Little tiny bits. So often we want to say, I didn't get my self-care in today, right? Because we imagine that self-care has to be hours of lavish, taking care of yourself, right? Doing extravagant things for yourself, spending lots of money, spending lots of hours, making sure you have the right yoga pants, going to the right studio. I don't know. There are so many ways to practice self-care, and we forget that self-care can also happen, right? It's like Brene Brown talking about building trust. The way to build trust with yourself, the way to fall in love with yourself, to come home to yourself, is not, yes, it's in those huge moments too, where you do amazing, extravagant things for yourself or make huge boundary growth choices, strides. But the way it really builds is in the tiny little moments where I reaffirm a boundary quietly but firmly. Where I go and I do the dishes even though I don't really feel like I want to. And I look back and I say, good job. You supported yourself. You loved yourself. You're able to trust yourself, to protect yourself, and to follow through on the things you said you'd do today. I'm proud of you. And on those days that I fail, I get to look at myself and I say, it's okay. Today was a little rough. We didn't quite get what we expected done. But I love you. Those are tiny moments of self-care. Those are the most valuable tiny moments of self-care. So let's sit for a meditation. Our mudra this week has been the Bhairava mudra. The Bhairava mudra actually has a masculine and a feminine aspect to it, both sides. So I invite you, on Monday we worked with the Bhairava mudra, which is the right hand in the left, and you just rest this in your lap. The Bhairavi mudra is the left hand in the right and resting in your lap. That's it. What does this mudra do? It's a foundational mudra for meditation. It assists in calming the mind, centering the energy body, and balancing the duality within us. Balancing the masculine and the feminine. Balancing the being and the doing and being. The yin and yang, solar and lunar energies within us. But beyond that, it creates this calm, centered space in which we can cultivate the kind of fierceness that's akin to sitting in the eye of a storm. That no matter what life brings to you, no matter what blows through your reality, you are still able to be fierce enough to be unmoved. This mudra assists us in releasing our attachment to ego clinging. Oftentimes, when the chaos is happening outside of us, it is our ego that wants to engage. It is our ego that feels justified in engaging or fighting back or protecting. And there is a time and a place for that, yes. But the power within to be present with all of that going on without the need to engage, that's another level of fierceness, right? Nikki, is it okay to switch hands in the middle of meditation? Yes. So I'm glad you asked. I was just about to say you can choose which one you would like to cultivate today. The masculine side of that, balancing, again, it balances both sides. So really it's which energy of that fierceness are you looking to communicate, or looking to cultivate? The right hand can be attributed to Bhairava was actually a Hindu deity who was known as the god of storms, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. And a representation of Shiva in his most fierce form. We have the opposite side of that coin with the divine feminine and Kali, and the representation of Shakti and Durga in the feminine's most fierce form. So whichever energies that you feel called to sit with today, choose one or both. Feel free during the meditation, if you're sitting there on this side of it and you want to go ahead and switch, go ahead, right? Yesterday in Tiny Yoga, we spent some time balancing both sides with a sun salutation and a moon salutation. You can absolutely be with both sides in the same practice. So today, if you've got yourself a spot to sit. Again, if you're not able to close your eyes, if you're not able to hold the mudra, that's okay. You can still hang out, still enjoy, still listen in and enjoy the energy of the practice that we are doing, or mentally take it away for later, right? So when you are ready to do this mudra actually has a direction on how to create the mudra. Instead of placing your hands directly like this and dropping them down in your lap, it's actually requested that you place your palms upright on your thighs and then move them in and bring them in, either right hand in your left or left hand in your right. I'm going to sit with the Bhairava at first, the masculine side of this, the traditional side of this mudra. When you are ready, please close your eyes, and we will begin with 3 deep breaths to fully arrive for our practice. Begin by inhaling through the nose, pulling the breath through the lungs and into the belly. And sigh it out. Inhale again, lifting the heart and elongating the spine. And let it go. Inhale once more, expanding the ribcage in all directions, front, sides, and back. And release. For a moment, just follow the breath. Go ahead and seal the lips. And follow the inhale all the way to the top. And follow the exhale all the way to the bottom. Take several breaths this way, allowing the sound of your breath, allowing the movement of your breath to anchor you into the present moment. Now, if this is enough meditation for you, you can stay right here, just following the breath. Remember that all of those sensations, thoughts, distractions that arise, emotions, doubts, and fears, they are all asking to be released. So when they come up to distract you from your breath, from the mudra, from the practice, I invite you to offer a gentle smile and let them pass. Let them rise and fall in the same way your heart rises and falls on your breath. And that can be your entire practice. For those of you who would like a little bit more, I invite you to tune your hearing to the farthest away sound that you can hear. Really stretch your perception and reach for the farthest away sound. Slow, steady breaths. You may notice when you are reaching for that faraway sound that the breath becomes so light and small. That's okay. Allow it to do so. Just make sure you keep breathing. Farthest away sounds. Take a deep breath in, a big deep breath in. And release the farthest away sounds on the exhale. Bringing your hearing into maybe the outside of the room that you're in. If you're in a building, maybe it's the hallway or the next apartment, next office. Maybe it's the next car. It's just outside the house. Maybe it's a road nearby. Take a moment and listen for the sounds just outside of the room you're in. Take a big deep breath in. And release the sounds just outside the room you're in on your exhale. Now move your hearing into the sounds immediately around you. It could be in the room around you. It could be something or someone right next to you. Take a moment only focusing on the sounds in the room around you. Take a big deep breath in. And exhale, releasing the sounds right around you. On your next inhale, I invite you to tone the muscles of the throat ever so slightly to create a gentle snoring sound. This is called Ujjayi breath or ocean breath. It is done simply by constricting the muscles in your throat ever so slightly to make that kind of Darth Vader sound, or the sound of someone gently snoring, or the sound of the ocean waves. Keep your lips sealed. Inhale and exhale just through the nose, and now listening only to the sound of your breath. Inhaling, following it all the way to the top. Exhaling, following it all the way to the bottom with this audible sound. Allowing everything else to fall away but the sound of your breath. as you listen to the slow, smooth, steady rhythm of your own breath, I invite you to open your awareness again to all the other sounds, the sounds without rhythm, the random occurrence, the chaotic commotion happening outside of your body, outside of the room that you're in, even far, far away from you, these random occurrences, seemingly chaotic, unrhythmic sound. Maybe there are rhythmic sounds out there too. They are mixed within this chaos outside of us. Continue to listen to your breath as you cultivate the peacefulness, the centeredness, the calm at the center of all of this external chaos. And if you find chaos within, I invite you to release it to the storm without, the storm outside of you. Thoughts, fears, aches and pains, worries and shame. Whenever it comes up, let it be taken away by the howling winds outside of you, by the storm going on around you while you cultivate the eye of the storm. Feel the weight of the calm as it washes over you. Feel the stability of inner balance. If you would like to, you can add a mantra here, inhaling, I am fierce. And as you exhale, allow the exhale to release all tension in your muscles. Inhale again. You can choose the same one or a different one. I am centered. And as you exhale, release the tension anywhere left in your body. Inhaling your intention to cultivate this space, this fierce, centered, balanced, calm, peaceful space. And with each exhale, allow that inner knowing, the growing inner understanding, to relieve you of the tension, the need for holding that comes with fear and shame and doubt and worry. Feel them all melt away. I am fierce. I am balance. Take a few more breaths here. allow yourself to relax into releasing any attachment to the need to engage with the chaos happening outside of you or within you. Simply be the witness. Have the courage to simply bear witness without the need to act. There is a time and a place. This is the time and place to cultivate the courage to remain still in our fierceness. I encourage you to stay here as long as you would like. When you feel complete, I invite you to bring your hands together in prayer or simply lay one over the other in gratitude, one over the other over your heart in gratitude for today's practice. In gratitude for the chaos outside and in, so that we may learn balance, stillness, and peace. Offer yourself a little gratitude for taking the time for self-care today. I am so proud of you for showing up for yourself. And thank you again so much for joining me for this practice. When you are ready to come out of meditation, please do so slowly. Offer yourself some wiggles and stretches. Sometimes we end up with feet that fall asleep or fingers that go a little numb and things like that. Ooh, that's my tea. The very last thing, for me at least, is opening my eyes because I usually like to stay there. June, thank you. Welcome. I'm going to catch up on some comments here. I think sometimes when that feeling of fierceness comes up within us, we think that it's a message to immediately act or to act quickly. And sometimes the most valuable action we can take is to simply bear witness to what is occurring. We know that on a quantum level, the act of observation itself changes the quality of a thing, changes the molecular structure of a thing, changes the expression, the quantum expression of a thing. Thank you, Nikki. Ah, Bailey, I love that. A working meditation was nice. I have stuff going on, but just listening in is in itself useful. Yeah, that's why I try to tell everybody, if you can't join the meditation, definitely at least listen in, right? Hey, guys. Yes, so Chocolate Frost, you're saying seeing certain events can be traumatizing. The brain has something, we are wired with something called mirror neurons. And our mirror neurons basically receive information that we observe in part as our own experience. So the brain does an interesting thing that it doesn't really differentiate between dream memory, someone else's memory, movie memory, or personal experience memory. That's why you and your siblings can tell a story and then both of you be like, no, I was the one that did the thing. No, I was the one that did the thing. Well, you guys were both there, and we have mirror neurons in the brain, right? So the mirror neurons kind of reflect those experiences. Any experiences that we experience and perceive and bear witness to, whether they're ours or someone else's, they get stored similarly. And I think that says a lot for how important we are to each other. Your experiences are mine, and my experiences are yours. And when we reflect that back to each other, we can see the entirety of our collective experience in a way that none of us can see on our own. Right? Something as simple, and that's the thing. And I know that right now, so many of us are in a place of bearing witness. Look, I almost naturally did the mudra. I needed the mudra while I was talking about it. We are bearing witness to major upheaval, to the breaking of generational cycles and habits and ways of thinking and ways of living that are not conducive to our collective growth and evolution. I think one of the most difficult things about my spiritual practices, honestly, is how to incorporate the detachment from outcome. Hey, Zach. Our attachments themselves cause us suffering. And when I see someone else's suffering, it causes me suffering by my biological design. How can I not want to end my own suffering by way of healing their suffering? So how do we hold space? How do we bear witness to the horrific? And what's interesting then, and this might go into what you mentioned here, Chocolate Frost, too, is that you're not sure everyone has empathy and compassion. What happens? How do we lose empathy and compassion? Because empathy and compassion are ingrained within us. Mirror neurons are the foundation, are the biological evidence for compassion and empathy. We are designed for compassion and empathy. Yet what happens when someone bear witness over and over and over again to violence and trauma and loss and pain and suffering? What happens to us on a biological level? We lose that empathy and compassion as a safety mechanism. We become desensitized. So isn't it interesting? And I used to watch all of them too. Isn't it interesting how many movies and how many shows and how much media we can consume, and the whole stories, life stories of and obsessions with serial killers and things like that? Like, have we not as a collective desensitized ourselves from our empathy? I remember watching my son at the age of 2 watch a superhero movie. It was just Spider-Man. It's just a cartoon, right? It was the Spider-Verse one, right? He was 2 or 3. And he begged me. Okay, fine, we'll watch it. And the origin story moment, right? If you guys have seen it, where his uncle gets unalived. My little child recoiled. His entire... Sorry, it brings up emotions because as a mama, to see your little baby just go, and he literally, and he covered his face and he hid in me and he started sobbing and he said, is he dead, Mama? Is he dead? And I just realized the impact of something as simple as this little cartoon. And I held him and I turned it off and I said, I hope you never lose your heart. Because when I look around the world, I see closed hearts. I see armor and layers and layers and layers of protection. That's what arrogance is protection. Narcissism is protection. Shutting off the things that are causing you suffering, if that's your empathy and compassion and gentleness and honesty that are causing you suffering because of the state of the world, what does the body do and the mind do but shut them off? No, I can't feel that. It's too much. When we're vulnerable children, a lot of that is too much. And I won't sit here and tell you that the movies and the video games are destroying the world. They're not, in and of themselves. But empathy and compassion are things that are biologically built into us. And this isn't an anecdotal, I'm just saying it because I believe it. I spent 12 years studying human development and wellness across the lifespan. I have studied it from the angle of psychology, from child development, from gerontology, from philosophy, from religion, from personal experience through upheaval and trauma and therapies of variety of kinds. My intention was and always has been to turn us inside out so I can completely understand why it's happening and then transmute it. I was told so many times in my life that I should just shut it off and shut it down. Chocolate frost. Hurt people, right? Hurt people, hurt people. Yes, and it doesn't justify it. I nearly lost my life on countless occasions before I even hit the double-digit age. But for some reason, it just made me more adamant. And I watched my siblings shut down. I watched my friends shut down when they went through things. I watched people justify their anger and suffering and violence and whenever we feel justified in something, it is almost always an indication that we are attached, ego attached to the outcome. And that usually comes from a place of pain and trauma and fear and shame. And to do so, to act in that way, weaponizes our own pain. That is how we pass that on. I feel justified. I was hurt, so I'm going to hurt you too. This is just how we do it. I'm grateful we are in a place where we are collectively, so many people are seeking healing. So many people are looking at life, and that's again why this upheaval is happening, is we are looking at life and we are saying, no fucking more. Stop. No more. I am not playing this game of passing on my pain. I am not playing this game of weaponizing something that doesn't even affect me now. I mean, it does now, but it happened so long ago. Why the hell am I still carrying that around with me? Why am I still hurting other people because of something that I experienced how many years ago? 35 fucking years ago? Why does it still live in me? Why does it still feel the need to be expressed? Why does it still feel the need to be expressed? Still so nice to everyone? Radical empathy. And maybe it was still my mother. Kill him with kindness, she says. The more somebody tries to hurt you, the more hurt they are. And if you can see the pain in their eyes, it changes your perspective. Bullies don't look like bullies anymore. They look like hurt children. Should we protect ourselves still and like create space and hold boundaries and whatnot so that we don't get hurt, right? Yeah. But I know that it's collectively time for us to each put down feeling justified in weaponizing our own pain. Because the reality is that it doesn't accomplish anything except for more pain. One of the hardest things to do is let go of that pain. One of the hardest things to do is let go of feeling justified. And that is why I talk about mindfulness in the moment. Because in the moment, when my son crosses a boundary or lies to me or does something that triggers me, triggers my pain, and I want to raise my voice and be angry so he knows that these are my boundaries and he should never cross them. And I pretend to be more and more this kind of fierce in hopes that I'll scare him away from my boundary. But children are way more curious than that, and they don't get scared away so easily, so they come back and test again. Is that same monster going to come out every single time? They give us the opportunity over and over and over again to choose different outcomes with them. But the trouble is that when we identify with our pain. We believe that we are our pain, and so there's no way to step outside of our pain. It's beyond justification. It's identification. It's identifying with it. It's the difference between saying, I am angry, aka I am anger. I am anger embodied. It is part of who I am. It is wrapped into me. Or I'm feeling angry. This is temporal. This is something that arose within me, and in the same way, just like my breath, my inhale rises within me, this will also fall away if I allow it to. Now, I can inhale and hold my breath and hold on to my breath and think about my breath and wonder if it was a big enough breath, if I've got enough oxygen, if my lungs are absorbing enough oxygen into my bloodstream, and if this is working right. Did I breathe correctly? Maybe I need to breathe a little bit more into my diaphragm. Maybe I need to... We don't do that with our breath, do we? But we do that with our emotions. We do that with our thoughts. We grab them as soon as they come up and we're like, what is this thing? I must make it part of who I am. I must find how it fits into who I am. Not, oh, It is a natural rhythm of the body to try to release this shit that I have accumulated over all these years. And again, I know. It's really hard when that trigger rises. It's really hard when that habitual, reactionary, it is me, it is who I am, and I'm fucking coming for you. So I invite you to take the practice little bit by little bit. When you feel that, if you can catch it when it's rising, then pause for a moment when it's rising. If you can't catch it while it's rising, but it starts to come out and you can pause for a moment when you're on a tirade, pause for a moment, take some breaths. I came by this by accident when I was arguing with a boyfriend of mine. We were together for many years off and on, and we always had kind of the same arguments, as some of us do, right? And I remember he was yelling at me, I was yelling back at him, and I was folding laundry at the time, and I was folding it and slamming it on the bed, and folding it and slamming it on the bed, and folding it and slamming on the bed. I mean, we were fucking pissed, and it was the same fucking argument. And while I was doing this, and his yelling was going in one ear and out the other, and I was fuming inside, I suddenly saw this image of a cute little warm cabin down at the bottom of the hill, and a snowy hillside. And I was standing at the top. And that cabin looked so warm and so cozy. But where him and I were right now, we were beginning to snowball. And every single time we've had this argument, we've damaged that cabin over and over and over again, representing our relationship. And in that moment, I must have just froze because I kind of realized I was standing there holding a piece of laundry. And because I saw that from this distance, from where we are now, there's still time. If I just step to the left a little bit, then that snowball could miss the cabin, right? So in just, again, utter unknowing, I kind of just slowly put down the laundry. And as soon as I let go of that piece of clothing that I was so attached, that was attached to my justification, that was attached to my anger, that I was fueling my anger. As soon as I let go. And I crumbled and started sobbing, and the anger was completely gone in an instant, because underneath was fear and pain. And I was lucky enough to have a empathetic man with me, and he sat with me and he held me for 45 minutes as I sobbed. And we talked about the things that I had experienced before, and these memories started coming up and they started unearthing themselves just to be released. And I started spewing all of this, stuff I didn't even remember before that moment. All of these pains that had been fueling that anger, unconsciously fueling that anger. And it took just that little moment of sidestepping my justification, sidestepping my frustration and my self-righteousness, ego. And I discovered something profound. So if you have the opportunity, again, even for just a moment, no matter where it is in that cycle that you go through, we all go through with all of our triggers. I have them too. I've been doing this work for fucking decades, and I still have triggers that I'm unearthing, so it's not going to happen overnight. But each time, at some point in that cycle, the more you step off the fucking hamster wheel, the more space and time you're going to give yourself in the future. When that starts to rise again, you go, oh, I know where this is going. And last time, I was able to step out of it right before I threw my favorite mug into the wall, right? I saved my favorite mug. That was really good. Maybe this time I can do it before I throw my tea in somebody's face. I don't know, right? Whatever it is. Little moments. this is my healer. His name is Ajna. And he's a Velcro dog. I've never met a dog that was so, hi baby, who wants hugs. And when I'm having those bad days that I can't get out of bed, he stays in bed with me all day long. I will try to get up and take him out to go pee, and he's like, no, we're going back to bed. Thank you. You can lay down now, though. I'm good. I don't need any tongue. Yeah, thank you. Who's a good boy? Okay, my friends. I lost track of time and realized that it's just a few minutes before group coaching happens over in the CAYA. So if you're a member of CAYA, we are going to switch over to group coaching. I will send out a broadcast message like I did on Wednesday. That seemed to work well for the Zoom link for everybody. If you're not a member of CAYA and you want to join us for group coaching, you can sign up at movewithchange.com. There's a CAYA subscription there. There's also a group coaching only subscription that I just created over there. So if you guys, hey Brian, hey. So if you guys want to join just for the coaching sessions, there's a membership there for that too. Note that if you subscribe over here on TikTok, then you can receive a free month at CAYA. Again, you know, we're creating the CAYA to be a safe space for people to show up as they are. It is not a space where I'm trying to like rope people into staying. It's not a space, you know, it's an authentic space. And so I give a free month so that you can come in and check it out, meet the others that are there, come to our group coaching sessions, the practice sessions. You got, when you're a member, you get a 50% discount on all my services over there. And honestly, we have such a small little community that we're building right now. There's a lot of coaching that happens outside of the coaching sessions, right? Text messages, other phone calls. Like, we are cultivating a space where we can all feel safe to show up exactly as we are, especially when it's messy, especially when you feel alone, especially when you feel scared, especially when you feel justified, especially when you're like, it's a fucking wreck and I'm screwing everything up. We hold good space over there. So I love you guys so much. Hey, Jersey Moon, how are you? So feel free to come join us. Again, that's movewithchange.com, and that's our CAYA or the group coaching only subscription. You can join either way. Otherwise, if you have any questions about working directly with me, you can send me a message here on TikTok, here on YouTube. Have a great day too, YouTube, Brian. Or hi. Or you can email me at movewithchange. All right. He's also telling me, okay, it's time to get up. Okay. I love you guys so much. Thank you for a wonderful session. Take the Fierceness Mudra with you. And I invite you to use that mudra in those moments where you're trying to step out of the cycle of trigger. Pause, take 5 deep breaths, and sit with that mudra. And just invite that fierceness to sit in the center of your own chaos, of that storm that's happening outside and within you, right? Absolutely. I love you guys. Remember, replays are available over on YouTube. So if you missed this, if you missed the meditation, missed the mudra, whatnot, you can always find the replays on YouTube. I also go live on YouTube too, so you guys can check it out over there. And okay, it's 11 now. So I love you guys. I will talk to you guys later. I will see you on, remember, tomorrow night is our weekly Peakly Astro Live. If you are a member here on TikTok, you get to join us for our weekly forecast for the astrology for the week and what it means for each sign. For those of you who come in regularly to the natal dive, we can also pull up your natal chart and look at how those transits affect your specific signs too. Love you, dog. Okay, I'll see you guys in group coaching. Bye.